Hey everybody, Psychosaurus is here. Welcome back to H1 Pass Online. And today, yay, we're gonna talk more about units. This time, we are going to talk about priests. And yeah, there is a number of them, but it's not that bad as the other units, I would say. But yeah, if you wanna, you can definitely check out my previous videos about units. I already covered infantry, cavalry, ranged, and siege units, so you can definitely check out those. And yeah, in general, what I'm gonna talk about is how do you recognize these units, what's their strengths, what are even those units, and yeah, what are they good for. So yeah, let's get to it. I don't think there's anything else to say. But yeah, priest units, very simple I would put it, they are support units that actually use mainly two abilities. One is conversion, which allows them to convert enemy units to your side, and meaning that those enemy units will fight for you instead for the enemy. So it is actually good power, because that means, hey, the enemy loses a unit, but you get one unit for yourself, and so it's like taking the I would say tripping the balance to your side. That's how I would say it. I guess that's the or what is it called? Like tripping the scale to your advantage. That's the good way to say it. Actually, I don't know what's the word saying. I don't remember. The other ability, main ability, would be healing. So out of combat, you can heal your own units, which can help you save some resources, which is really good, especially early when your economy might not be that strong, and so hey, you want to save your units for as long as possible, saving those resources that you would need to train new units. So hey, that's the main thing. Priests usually are trained at temples or temple-like structures, depends on the civ you're playing as, but usually it's a temple. As you can see, for example, Greeks have temples, Romans have templum, which is different, but at the same time there can be some other buildings. For example, Romans are also using forums to train their clinicus, Indians are using monastery, Celts are using sacred groves, Persians are using War Academy, and so on and so on. Of course, there's so many units. Ziggurats, Great Hall. Egyptians have 3 temples even, each dedicated to one god. And there's that, okay? How do you recognize them? Usually it's a person with a staff or a scepter, as you can see, like here, they usually have staff, which is usually their part of the gear. Most of the priests will be using staff for their, how should I say, main weapon, I guess. So there's that. And of course, as I said, we have different priests. As I said, the main abilities would be the conversion and healing, but there might be some other aspects of those priests as well, which might make them a little bit different. But yeah, usually staffs focus on the conversion or the healing, so it depends. And of course, we have multiple priests, which I decided to split into. Usually they are not that different, but it's rather there is something different about them from like the other priests, which makes them different. Okay, let's get to it. So let's start with the general priest, which would be able for both conversion and healing, which would be these 4 over here: the Greek priest, the Persian magus, the Babylonian priest, and the Indian guru. Now, these priests are probably the most basic ones you'll see. They are capable both of healing and also the conversion. As you can see, if you take a look at the stats, you will see the healing. Usually there is a mention of whether it is in combat or out of combat. If it's out of combat, you can see the characters, the OOC behind in the brackets, the round brackets behind the healing rate, as you get. So that means, hey, if the unit you are trying to heal is in combat, you cannot heal that unit, okay? That's what it means. If we take a look at, for example, here, you can see there is no OOC, meaning for out of combat. So that means this unit can actually heal during the combat. Now, these 4 actually are not able to heal during the combat. I don't remember if it's different for champion mode, then it might be different there. I don't remember. It might be different there, so yes, this is mainly focused on PvE. In champion mode, it could be different. I think there were some changes for the priest. Don't call me on that, okay? I don't remember. But anyway, yeah, these can convert, these can heal. They are the most basic priests you'll see. Nothing really special about them except, like, yeah, I should have mentioned, since priests cost a lot of gold, okay? They are quite expensive on gold. And usually priests are available in Silver Age, but there are some exceptions, of course, as well. So yes, all of these are available in Silver Age, so that's not different here. And just to take a look at the stats, usually you will see like the healing, whether it's out of combat or not. You will see also the healing range. You can see also the conversion rate. Now, I was talking about the conversion rate before, but just to remind you, or if you don't know already, maybe this will be something new for you. What this number means is how many seconds it takes to convert a unit with no conversion resistance, because there is a stat conversion resistance that actually makes the conversion last longer, so it would take longer time for it. But yeah, if we take a unit, no conversion resistance, then it would take up to 10 seconds to convert the unit. Now, the thing is that this stat is actually saying how long it takes, but at the same time there is a variety between, because the actual conversion time is somewhere between 75% of this value and 100% of this value. So in this case, it would take somewhere between 7.5 and 10 seconds to convert a unit. Now, it used to be actually a little bit more wider, I would say, window for conversion, because it used to be actually somewhere between 50% of this value and 100% value, which was changed and nerfed, because goddamn it, like getting 5 seconds conversions instead of like 10 seconds, yeah, that was just so lucky. So yeah, it makes sense that it's a little bit worse. But that's basically what this value means. Now, as you can see, priests come with conversion resistance, some other units as well. If you remember, siege units as well had higher conversion resistance. So as you can see, you can see number 2, which means it will take twice as long to convert this unit. So as you have the conversion rate 10 here, with the conversion resistance 2, it would take actually somewhere between 15 to 20 seconds to convert this priest. There's also conversion range, which basically works as the attack range. It is basically the distance between the priest and target, the maximum distance before he starts converting the unit. So if the unit is further away, yes, the priest needs to get closer to start the conversion. And there's that. Priests are, I would say, generally they have the standard speed of 6. So they are not like super slow nor super fast, and I don't think there is usually anything faster. They start at 6, okay? I think even if we take a quick look, yeah. So these guys have the basic speed there. And I hope I didn't forget anything, but yeah, if I forget about anything and you want to know about it, yes, you can ask in the comments below. But yeah, these are the basic 4. Now, just so you know, there are a few more priests that are actually very similar to these, but these are very specific ones, and I just put them right there. These are part of the Alliance quest, you know, the Delos, Kartak, and Farafra Oasis quest. You will see them mainly during the Palace races. I don't think they are part of any other quest, but yeah, I think during the Palace races, you'll have access to these, you'll use them. Basically, they are the same priests. like these. If you just compare them, for some reason there's like one more health. I don't know if it's some mistake here or whatever, but they are the same priest, although they look different. They are just part of different alliance. Okay, so Priest of Baal would be the Kartak, as you can see, just the same stats as the Priest of Mad, who is part of the Farafra Oasis alliance. And then the Priest of Artemis, that's the Delian priest. Basically, they are the same priest as these, just they are only part of those quests. Okay, just so you know about them. And of course, they have the specific temples as well, which are called temples, which I find it unique. The Kartak one. This one actually is the most unique one I find. Because the Delian is just different, slightly different from the Greek one, and the Farafra one is basically the priest of Ta for the Egyptians, but just slightly different colors, and that's basically it. Okay, moving on. Now there are a few more similar to these priests, of course. These were basically the same ones, but there are few other priests that work practically the same. The idea is there, but there are some differences. Let's start with the Pontifex. Now, Pontifex is the Roman priest. Now, the difference in this case would be Pontifex is better converter, but he cannot heal units. As you can see, the conversion range is slightly longer. If you just take a look, the conversion range starts at 32. In this case, it's 36. And you can see no healing power. Otherwise, it's the same unit, okay? He's just better at conversion, but otherwise, it's the same unit without healing. It only lacks the healing, that's the thing. I don't think there's anything else needed to say, but basically, that's all. Just longer conversion range, no healing. That's the difference from these four. Then there's the Seer, who is part of the Norse priest unit roster, and in this case it's very similar to Pontifex, as again no healing. As you can see, no healing, but the conversion otherwise it's completely the same. Good thing she's actually cheaper. I think this was actually changed. I believe she used to cost 100 gold, but because almost no one used her, well, there is almost no need to use her because Norse have the other priest as well, but we'll get to that one later. Seer, basically, just like Pontifex, just the shorter conversion range. There is one good thing about her, which is not visible here, but there should be a button over here, and that's the special ability of the Seer, which allows her... I don't know if I can place it here. Can I? Okay, yeah. Which allows her to summon this nice raven. There would be like button, and you would just summon this nice raven. It would obviously, the ability would be on cooldown, and I believe it's actually global cooldown for all the Seers, if I'm not mistaken. So you cannot use it like on one Seer and then on another. I think the cooldown is like 60 seconds. Now this raven, this actually used to be timed unit that after a short time it would disappear, but now it's permanent. And basically this unit is the only flying unit that you can actually control in the game. And the only purpose of this unit is actually scouting, because it can fly, it can go anywhere it wants. You can see pretty fast. You can see the line of sight is 36, the speed is very high. So it's your, I would say, mid to late game scout that you can use as Norse if you get the Seer. Now obviously you need the Seer to actually be out in the game and use the ability, and you can fly. Now the advantage, because it's flying, it cannot get attacked by melee units, but obviously it can get attacked by units that can attack from distance. So for example, ranged units in general can attack it, towers, fortresses, and also throwing axemen. You should remember that, okay? Throwing axemen can actually hit this bird. as well. And of course, many other units, I would believe. I'm not sure if siege units like Ballista can actually hit it. I'm not sure about that. I wonder, what if Palinton could snipe the bird? That would be funny. I want to see that. I want to see Palinton sniping the bird. That would be funny to see. But anyway, yes, that's the whole thing of the Seer. It's a converting priest, no healing. It can summon the Raven to scout the area. That's it. Now another similar to these four is the Ogre. Now Ogre is, it's basically the same priest. It's more expensive though, as you can see, 150 gold. That's the main difference. Otherwise it looks the same, right? Basically it is the same priest, but there is one good advantage about Ogre. And it has special ability to use rights. Celts have access to 4 rights, and only ogres can use those. For you to use the rights, you need some huntable or herdable units nearby, and then you select the specific right and use it on the animal. The animal will be sacrificed, which means, hey, the unit will die and you won't be able to gather food from it. And of course, if the unit is dead already, so you cannot sacrifice it, obviously. And this will actually, when you use the rights, this will activate global buff for all of your units and structures, depending what you use, for a certain amount of time. I believe, what is the time now? I think it's 45 seconds duration now, and the cooldown is 90 seconds. So yeah, 45 seconds usage and 45 seconds of cooldown. You can have only one right active at the same time, and once you use that one right, all the rights go on cooldown. Okay, so choose wisely which one you use. You have 4 to choose from. One is reducing the training time of all of your units. Second one is increasing your unit's damage against buildings by 50%, which is a great one, obviously, if you are trying to destroy enemy base real fast. Third one increases your unit's movement speed. I think it's only military though, so it goes up by 15% if I'm not mistaken. So yes, 15% movement speed. And last one is 15% damage for all of your military units, which is general damage, not against specific unit, but against everything. Okay, all of these rights can be used. They're fun, they're great. Boost, you should try to use them as much as you can. Sometimes I'm not using them, sometimes I do use them. Mostly I don't, but yeah, it's definitely great to use them. You should use them as well. Great power. That would be the Ogre. Next one is the Priest of Ptah. Now, this one is a very specific one, as this is the only priest, if I'm not mistaken, that actually costs 2 population. It is very similar to these, except there is one thing about this priest. It's the only priest that can actually convert units in an area. So if you take a look, it's more expensive, like I said. It's like, yeah, 2 priests in one, so 200 gold, 2 population. It has more health, obviously stronger healing, shorter range if I'm not mistaken, by 1. Doesn't matter because Egyptians get upgrade. You can see conversion rate is a little bit slower, 12 seconds instead of 10. Makes sense. And the conversion range is very slow, and as you can see, the unit is also very slow. So while it is good to convert units in an area, because converting one unit at a time would either make your priest inefficient or require a lot of micro to try to convert multiple units at the same time. So Priests of Ptah obviously are great for conversion, but at the same time there's the weakness. It is very short range conversion. But hey, if you can get close enough and start converting those units, it's fun to see the converted pop-ups happening so fast on so many units. It's just funny to see. But yeah, Priest of Ta. So basically, short range, slower converter, but it has AoE conversion. So very powerful. So be careful if you see Priest of Ta, try to kill him or try to get away from him so he does not convert all of your army suddenly out of nowhere. Very dangerous if not paid attention to. Okay, another very similar, and this is gonna be practically the last one. That's the Priest of Set. Now, as you can see, slightly less health, but otherwise it's basically the same priest. Weaker healing, as you can see. Doesn't matter. Hey, you get the upgrades for Egyptians, so it's not that bad. Now, the main difference is, notice, they don't have conversion, actually. They have chaos. Instead of conversion rate and conversion range, you can see they have chaos rate and chaos range. Now, what is the difference between chaos and conversion? You might be asking, what is so specific about it? Conversion, like I said, turns the enemy unit to your side. So, hey, the enemy loses unit, you gain 1 unit. That makes sense. In case of chaos, this is actually different. It's the enemy loses a unit, but you are not getting unit. That unit is actually going to become neutral. Which means, hey, it will attack you as well. But the advantage of this is, and I didn't mention this is actually a good thing to mention. When you are trying to convert enemy units, you need free population space. Because once you are max pop, the 200, you cannot convert enemy units anymore. Which is kind of sad, I agree, but at the same time, hey, you don't probably want to suddenly have like 400 pop armies on your side out of nowhere. I know. I feel like the limit should be a little bit higher for the conversion. Like, you should be able to get over the limit, but the limit should be there, but a little bit higher. Let's say like 250, something like that. So you are actually able to utilize those priests. Otherwise, like, yeah, you can go full pop-up, but what's the point of converting priests at that point? Well, Priest of Set does not have that issue, because you are not really converting them to your side, you're making them neutral. And once they're neutral, standing, they will be staying in that area. Now, there is one advantage about it, because once you turn them neutral, it means the enemy units will lose their gear, they will lose their upgrades, and so it makes it easier for you to kill those units. Of course, it's annoying because, hey, you still need to kill them because they are not on your side, but it's a lot easier to kill them. But yeah, that's the main difference. Otherwise, it's just the same priest like the others. So yeah, there's that. And now we'll move to the second group of priests, or I would say this was like the first main group with other different priests with slightly different abilities. Now we are going to healers, and there are also healers with different abilities. Now these three I would call the healers. So the Roman Clinicus, the Celtic Druid, and the Norse Rhapsode. Now, as I said, with the Roman Pontifex, you have the temple and then you have the forum. The Clinicus is actually being the one trained at the forum. Now, the healers, their main focus is on healing your units. Now, there's another good thing about them. These actually can heal during the combat. So if you take a look, Clinicus actually is healing during the combat. There's no out of combat in the brackets. So the main purpose of these units is to heal your units, especially during the combat, which is actually great for you, because if you can heal them during the combat, that means your units will last longer. Now, let's say they don't have to survive, but if they can last longer, that's actually good for you. That means, hey, they can do more damage. Your other units will stay alive longer because they won't be taking so much damage, because that other unit that's taking the damage is lasting longer. Which means, hey, those units can do more damage. And so, yeah, having healer that can actually heal during the combat, that's actually a huge advantage. Now, obviously, you need to be careful so you don't lose them, because, hey, the enemy, if the enemy is smart enough, he will focus down those healers first, okay? So careful with your healers, but yeah, usually AI is not that smart to focus those healers. Sometimes they will attack them, but yeah, usually they won't focus all of them at the same time, so it's good to use them against AI. Now, as you can see, there are three, like I said. Now, Clinicus is like, I would say God tier healer, because that's his only purpose, basically. He's healing the units in combat. So yes, his healing is very strong. It's single target, so it will heal only one unit. But once you upgrade them, hey, even in area they will be healing your units. So very powerful healer. Definitely try to use him with your Romans. Now, another thing I want to mention is that healing is definitely great on units that have really good armor, because that HP is actually that they regain with the healing is actually being affected by the armors, which means the armor is increasing the value of the healing. And yeah, if the unit is taking like half the damage from infantry units and you're healing them, it's like you're getting the double the value. So very good. Try to utilize also the armor upgrades for the armor, so the healers actually do their job even better. Now, Clinicus is a healer, of course, as I said. There's also the Rhapsode. Now, Rhapsode is slightly different, because all of these are basically different. Otherwise, it would be boring. Rhapsode is actually out of combat healer. This is actually the one difference, because Rhapsode is actually working as the first group, but I would put it here among the healers, because that's the main thing of this unit. He can heal your units out of combat, and he does the job really well. Why? Because his area healing is actually huge. You can see 20. That's huge. Basically, you need like 2 Rhapsodes and you can heal your whole army without a problem. Now, obviously, there's disadvantage. As you can see, the healing is somewhat low. Doesn't matter, because hey, they get some extra healing from their upgrade. It's not as good as the 25, but because it's huge area, hey, you will heal your whole army in no time. But yeah, this is the only healer that actually can also convert units. Other than that, yeah, there is nothing different about Rhapsody. It's obviously expensive, 150, because having such a strong healer in your army that can heal your whole army, yeah, that's just so good. Usually you would need like 10 priests to heal some reasonable amount of units, but like you take one Rhapsode, hey, your whole army is getting healed. It's a great healer. And the funny thing is, it actually has a lot of health, like 250 health. That's more than Priest of Ta, which is actually interesting. Although Ta actually can get upgrade for them to increase their health. I think it goes by 50%, so they will actually have even more health. But still, like for one pop priest, 250 health, that's a lot. This just tells you, hey, you need like 1 or 2 of these and you're fine. You don't need that many Rhapsodes for you to heal your whole army. Like 2 and you're just fine. Anyway, that's Rhapsode. Very great unit. You should try using him, especially as a healer. Now there's another healer. Now this one is more similar to Clinicus. This is the Druid. And if I'm not mistaken, I did not mention it, but Priest of Ta is the only H4 priest that exists right now in the game. Druid is the first one that's actually available in Bronze Age already, so you can get him early, which makes sense for Celts, because Celts are the aggressive civ, and when you want to be aggressive, hey, you want to go all the way. So druids will actually heal your infantry units. And not only that, this is actually a healer that not only that he heals your units, he also buffs your units at the same time. As long as he is healing units, he will also buff their damage output. And if I'm not mistaken, in PvE it's like 20%, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe in champion mode it's slightly less, but I don't call me on that. I think it's less in champion mode, but in PvE, if I'm not mistaken, it's 20%. Anyway, druids slightly cheaper, as you can see, than your typical priest. 75 gold. So yeah, it's definitely more affordable than the other priests. It has weak healing, sure, 9 health, what is it? But it is during the combat. It's not as good as Clinicus, but remember, Clinicus is mainly about the healing, and that's basically all he does. In case of Druid, it's available in Bronze Age, so you don't really want it like to do like 30 health per second. That would be just insane. So 9 health for early game for the Bronze Age, that seems pretty fine. Now another thing is area of healing is free. It's not 20 like the Rhapsode, no, but it is free. And in that area you're also buffing the damage, okay? So as long as you're healing a single unit, all of the units around will also get the buff to their damage. And they don't need to be healed, which is nice. But hey, if they are damaged, they will get the healing as well, which is a nice bonus. And yeah, the line of sight is slightly low. Like, it's like half. Okay, Clinicus is 20, but for the other priests, which is like 34, yeah, this is like 18 is like almost half of their value. Whatever. But Druid has one good ability, unlike the other priests. Although I did not mention this. This is another thing I need to mention. But yeah, Druids are actually the only priests, the only priests that actually attack the units. They actually deal damage. This is the only unit, okay, that actually attacks other units. So hey, if you want, you can have army of druids for yourself, and they can heal each other while also fighting. Now, there's one little bit disadvantage, and if you want to know more, I suggest you watch my Jiranga Hills video where I actually use the full druids, and you can see how they work in action. But to keep it short, hey, they are not aggressive by default. They are more like focused on the healing. And so when you want them to attack units, yeah, it takes a little bit of micromanagement to do so. And as you can see, druids do a lot of damage to huntables. That's why I suggest Jiranga Hills video. Hey, so you see how they are brutal against monkeys. But anyway, this reminded me that one thing I did not mention. A lot of priests can actually attack units as well, but it's only very specific kind of units, and that's the huntables, okay? So if your priests get attacked by huntables, they can actually fight back. And I don't remember, but it's not the case for all priests. If I'm not mistaken, Rhapsodes, for example, cannot attack huntables. They just cannot. But Clinicus should be able, if I'm not mistaken. And I actually like that animation. if they can still do it. I don't remember. There were like some changes. Because I know like the Priestess of Ra could actually attack animals. And now she cannot. Which I find it... Come on. Like, come on. Let her hunt. Come on. I want to see Priestess hunting. Come on. But yeah, I know like the Priest of Set should be able... I think Pontifex should be able to do so. All of these should be like attacking the huntables with their stuff, so they should be able. But I think the priestess, she got it removed. I know that because I was trying it and unfortunately it didn't work. I know Rhapsode cannot attack for sure. The rest I cannot guarantee, but I believe they should be able to attack on those. Can I actually? You know what? You know what? Yeah, I'll leave that to you to check it out for yourselves. Okay. Just so you know. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about the druid. So yes, area of effect healing with buff to your units that increases their damage output. Try to use them as much as you can, especially early game, because hey, if you combine them with long swordsman, that's a great combo. Especially after the champion upgrade for the long swordsman, even more armor for them. That healing is better. Yay. Anyway, moving on, and we are getting closer to the end. So that's the Priestess of Ra. Now, these three, I would say that they were like the main healers, although they were still different. Okay, it's like the healer group, but all of them are so different. Now, Priestess of Ra is actually a healer, and you can see pretty good health as well, which is funny. Like Druid, who is actually in combat, does not have that much as Priestess of Ra. Anyway. Priestess of Ra is a very special priest, okay, and I keep talking about her as one of the best units in the Egyptian army, okay. She's a priest. She's available in H2, although Egyptians start with one Priestess of Ra in H1 from the very start of the game. So hey, you already start with one available to you. They can heal your units, and just like druids, they heal in area. So area healing, very nice. She can help you save some resources, which is fine for Egyptians since their early units are weak. But if you can keep them alive longer and then just have the large number that you need for them to be effective, priestess can help you with that. So yes, healing is one of her abilities, but most important ability is empowering buildings. That's the most important ability of her. Now if we take just a quick look at the stats, you can see 10 HP per second being healed in an area of 3, so very similar to Druid, just 1 HP more, no buff unfortunately. The healing range, Druids have how much? 15, so it's very similar. Short line of sight, Druids were what, 18? Yeah. Clinicus is like 20, Rhapsode is... Oh, I didn't notice this. Rhapsodes actually are nearsighted, while the others usually have like longer line of sight. Ptah is shorter. Okay, but everyone else should be like... Okay, Seer is also short-sighted. Nearsighted, oh... I didn't realize this. Why are you like nearsighted? Like I get it. Okay, you're like old lady with bad eyesight, and the band is definitely not helping. But still, like I would expect it to be higher. Oh my god. Okay, she's a lot worse than I expected in comparison to other priests. But yeah, Priestess of Ra usually, hey, you will not use her alone, okay? She needs to be with someone else. So yeah, line of sight is bad, but usually she will be somewhere near some other units or structures. Other than that, yeah, basically looks like a healer priest. Now about the empowerment, that is actually the very unique of the Priestess of Ra, and it is one of the reasons why I consider her excuse me, why I consider her to be one of the best units in the Egyptian army. So basically how it works, and we can move her, is you right click on a building, you can see the cursor turning into like this, what do you call it, like the stuff or whatever, and when you right click it, you can see she will start blessing, or as it's called, empowering the building. And how do you recognize the empowered building? Hey, you can see the light around it, the sparks. Now what does this do to the buildings is, number one, the building is actually working faster, so it reduces all the research times and the unit production times by 10%. And I was talking about it, how it works basically. So hey, if I think you can check it out in the unit stats videos, one of those. I think priest stats, where I was explaining it. So make sure to check out that video. But yeah, basically reduces the training times and research times at the building. Second one is if you're just building or constructing the building, the empowered building will actually take less time to finish. Okay, how much? Basically, she reduces the construction time by 10%. Again, make sure to check out the priest stats so you know how exactly it works. And then the third one, which I find to be, I would say that would be the number one, why she's so strong, but the training times for your units is the second one, because that allows your villagers to be coming out sooner from the TCs, which is very good for you. The third one is she actually empowers how many resources are dropped off at the structure. So if I did not have the War Academy here, but let's say the town center or storehouse or docks, and then a villager decided to drop off their resources they just mined or gathered to drop off at the structure, they would go there, they would drop them off, and you would actually earn more resources, which is the best thing that can actually happen to you as Egyptian, because goddamn, you have to realize, first of all, the villager gathered at their typical gather rate, and they carried the same amount of resources as any other villager, but they dropped off more, which means, hey, she like increased the carry capacity of the villager. She actually improved his gather rate as well, because you got more resources for the same amount of time, of work time of the villager. And also because you gathered the same amount of resources from that source, you actually got some conservation as well, which means from, let's say, stone deposit or gold deposit, you're getting more resources, which is huge. Okay, so you have like faster gather rate with increased carry capacity and also conservation, which is huge. Okay, this is why I say the Priestess of Ra is one of the best units in the Egyptian army, because goddamn, she boosts your economy so much. Now, of course, if you don't have the gear, at first it's gonna be like 11% more resources, which is still good. Like that's really good. Once you get the gear, it's like 20% more resources, which, goddamn, that helps you so much. The more resources you have, hey, you can have more buildings available to you. You can produce more units so early. You can age up. You can get the tax you need. That's really strong, okay? Which is why again, Priestess is very strong unit, and you should try to use them as much as you can. Now, obviously, one disadvantage, she costs 100 gold. So for Bronze Age, and I forgot to mention, this is the second Bronze Age priest, but it's not that weird because Egyptians use their temples to actually age up. So the Temple of Ra that you need for the Bronze Age is the one where you produce the priestesses of Ra, obviously. And yeah, so she costs a lot. And another thing, she actually takes a long time to produce. It takes 30 seconds for one priestess of Ra. But hey, if you can get them out and buff your structures, your storehouses, your town centers especially, you can boost your economy quite heavily. Okay, so that 100 gold is actually great investment. Okay, so try to use Priestess of Ra as much as you can, because that's the best thing you can do as Egyptian. Suddenly, hey, your economy is super strong. Anyway, we're getting near the end. Here is the last priest, which is actually very unique. You will see it like once during the Egyptian quest line when you like create a save and you go through the tutorial quest. Somewhere in those quests there is like one, I'm not sure if more, but there's definitely one quest where you find this priest, which is called the Priest of Amen. Priest of Amen, which, yeah, you're not really gonna train him, because where would you train him? Of course, there is no structure to produce these units. So you just play one quest where you get him by default. Now, as you can see, this is something between the Priest of Set and the Priestess of Ra. He's somewhere between. Now, obviously, he cannot empower the buildings, but hey, he can heal during the combat, which is nice. Larger area of healing, as you can see. I'm not sure if you can use it during the quest. I'm not sure. But hey, that's a nice thing. Healing range just like the Priestess of Ra. Now, as you can see, while as Priest of Set, he applies chaos. So that's the main thing about him. So, like I said, something between the Priest of Set and Priestess of Ra. The range is shorter. I think that's why you get this priest instead of the Priest of Set, because hey, if you had Priest of Set with that long range, yeah, that would be probably too good for you during that quest. So it makes sense to have something like this. And I'm not sure if the description says it here, because when I was trying to place him, if I can get him, because priest unit can inflict chaos, causing them to turn insane, hostile to all players, also heals multiple friendly units. Okay, no, it does not say like AoE chaos application, luckily. So that's fine. Okay, so it's like single target. Yeah. Yeah, it's very specific unit, okay? You will probably see it once and then never again. I'm not really sure. Is it? I know it's one quest. There's one quest. I'm not sure if there's more. But there's definitely one. And then yeah, you have like those consumable ones which, yeah, you have like the consumable version. I'm not sure if this is like the same one. Let's take a look. Let's take a quick look. Are you the same? I guess you are. Shorter healing range, I guess. Otherwise, yeah, this just looks like... Yeah, so I guess this is like one specific one for the mission, and then you have the ones through consumables. So I don't know which one this consumable is. Maybe it's something at the religion school? I don't remember. Whatever. That was the last priest, okay? So yeah, remember, priest, the dudes with the staffs. Also, Priestess of Ra is one exception, because she does not use staff, she uses scepter, okay? That her specific piece of gear. But yeah, usually used for all the priest units, either used for conversion or for healing, and in some cases for some other abilities as well. Conversion, healing are the main ones. Some have some specific abilities that you can utilize. For example, the seers, augurs, and the priestess of Ra. Now, usually, and you could see it through the stats, priests have no armor, usually. I don't remember if... Yeah, Priest of Thoth does not have any. So, because they have no armor, they are very vulnerable to damage, so be careful with them. They can take a lot of damage from any unit, and especially their counters. So careful with those. Make sure they have some protection, some meat shield in front of them, because if the enemy units get too close, hey, conversion will most likely not happen, okay? So yeah, try to protect them with some of your own units. Make sure they can do their job really well, whether it's conversion or the healing. Hey, if they are healing, make sure to protect them, because they can save you a lot of units. Anyway, that's probably all I have to say. I hopefully did not forget anything. Yeah, basically priests are vulnerable to anything, so if you just focus them down, they will go down pretty fast. But yeah, if there are some units in front of them, yeah, you might not want to deal with them right at the moment and come back later, so until the army is a little bit thinner. So yeah, that's gonna be all. I hope I did not forget anything. But yeah, if you feel like I forgot something and you want to know, make sure to leave a comment below and I'll definitely make sure I'll check it out. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please press the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time with the next unit type, whichever I decide to. There's still a few. We'll see what is it gonna be next time, but I guess, yeah, I'll probably go with those units. Yeah, you will have to find out for yourself next time. So yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.